Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained. My name is DM Bloodworth, and as you can see by the tag, this is going to be a Conan 2D20 and Conan Exiles integration video. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the character generation for Morpheus's Conan An Age Undreamed Of using their online character generator. And then I'm going to show you the character that I made to to pair up with that in Conan Exiles, which is a massively multiplayer online game put out by Funcom. So I'm going to switch over to view and switch over to actually go to the character generation first. So here you have the character generation program online, and so this is basically with the annoying pop-ups that are these new videos, but I'll just wait till I can X that out. I don't know why that's been added recently. So as you can see, the character generation, you need to start off with the core, and I'm going to be making a barbarian character, and so I'm going to check off these two boxes, and what this means is that the generator online now will be using these two different rule books in order to create my character, give me the selections or choices for my character. I'm going to go into normal character rules, and I'm going to select my homeland. All right, I'm going to make a female Sumerian character. So Sumerian gets a talent of hunter. And as you click through this, they go through and they tell you what each of the talents that you choose, what they do. All right, so this will give me it'll reduce the difficulty level of my survival tests by 1, and it gives me the language of Sumerian. Attributes, they allow you to increase or decrease your attributes by up to 2. So you can lower up to 2 attributes and raise an equal amount of attributes by 1 point. So you can lower and raise up to, 2 different attributes. I just leave it at the straight 7s for the beginning, and now we'll go into aspects. I'm going to select the aspects. Now, I had already run through this a few times, so I kind of know what I'm, looking to go for. And since this character is going to be, kind of heavy on, on heavier on dexterity and that kind of thing, so I'm going to go with dexterous as my first choice, and then down here, I'm going to go, because I want coordination and some awareness, so I'm going to go with fast and fit down on this. And so now you have to choose which is your best, which is your worst. So I can already see that my agility is already at an 11 and my coordination is at a 9. So I'm going to make this my best. So my coordination best, that brings it up to a 10. And I'm going to make brawn my worst. That'll bring it down to an 8. Now down over here, I'm going to bring my brawn back up to a 9. So it's slightly better than average. And then my second choice will be my coordination, which brings that to an 11. So now my character has an agility and a coordination both of 11, a brawn of 9, a willpower of 7, which is the base that I started with, and an awareness of 7. That's where I started with as well. I'm going to select my cast. So my cast, I can go with, barbaric, which is, basically where she was born. And I believe under cast I used escape, slave, and serf. So that's going to be part of her story. And the reason why is I wanted to make this character a survival kind of based character as well. So I'm going to go with that, and it gives me my talent. All right, and the talent is embittered and vagabond. All right, and survival expertise and focus is a +1 for each. So a social standing of 0, if you caught that before I skipped by. All right, so selecting the story. So under the story, I went with, let's see, captured by slavers. That's not here yet. Hidden from a novel, under the eyes of a master, hunted by your master, hunted by the law. Ooh, I don't remember which one of these I did. Stalked like prey? Interesting. All right, I don't see it. So let's see which will pull into under the eyes. Hunted by your master, a nemesis, or hunted by the law. Oh, stalk like prey. Under the eyes of the masters. Stalk like prey is the trait. So that's what we'll do. Okay. We're going to select the archetype, and the archetype that I went with is a hunter. All right, so ranged weapons is the career skill, accuracy is the talent, and then the variety of skills, the mandatory skills, discipline, observation, stealth, and survival. And the elective skills are animal handling, crafting, and melee. So once I select that, you can see my ranged weapons just went to a +2 for both expertise and focus. Accurate is a talent that I've just picked up. And I want animal handling and melee. Now, what you choose here for weapons, it doesn't much matter. You can always change them up, for other, when you get into the game. You don't actually have to keep these that are on the character sheet, but it will stat them out, so it's pretty good there. I want a throwing axe. So the nature, let's see, what did I choose before? Wrathful. So she's going to be kind of, aggravated about having been a slave and then escaping. So you can see now her melee is a +2. Her ranged weapon is now a +3. Her resistance, which is the amount of hit, damage that she can take, is now a +1. And you can choose one of these three, two of these three. So I'm going to go with acrobatics and parry. And now I get to select a talent, and the talent pool is based on, at least at this stage, is based on her already selected, previous talents. And there are some advantages to having more than one talent in the same tree. Sometimes you get like a stacking, conditions, like for weapons and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I already have accurate, so I'm going to go with marksman. All right, so a marksman is a ranged weapon, or did I do quick release last time? It doesn't matter. I'm going to go with marksman. And when you do this, you gain 1 additional momentum to use as an attack. That's awesome, because that will make the character much more effective in combat by gaining an extra momentum. All right, so I'm going to select my education, and I usually go with educated on the battlefield. All right, and again, that applies acrobatics, healing, survival, and then melee, parry, ranged weapons, and then any other mandatory talents. So I'm going to go with that. And now you can see I finally picked up some healing. My survival is now a +3. My acrobatics is now a +2. And now I can select down here, and I'm certainly going to go with melee and ranged weapons. The talent. Now before I took a ranged weapon, so now I can come down here, and you can see I can keep on adding ranged weapon modifiers. So I'm going to go with quick release. All right, so spend loads, gaining a bonus of D20 or +1 CD damage for each load spent. Now, you know what? I'm not going to go with that because I want to be a little bit more balanced. So I'm going to go with No Mercy, which is a melee skill. And I'm going to go with the broadsword. All right, so my war story, I'm going to go with a barbarian war story. And now I'm going to select my war story. And I could go with captured by slavers. Let's see. And that's what I did. So still keep on building up that that character background story. And so you can see I picked up crafting now, which I don't know why, but I pick up crafting for being captured by slavers, and resistance, so a little bit more bodily toughness. So now under customization, what I can do now is I can start looking at my skills. Now I can increase 2 of my attributes by 1. I can increase an attribute by 2. So I'm going to look through these, and I am going to add one more brawn, and I think one more awareness. Okay, and now I can add 3 more skills here. So I'm going to go down the line, and I can see I have no athletics, which doesn't make too much sense. So I'm going to add athletics to her, and then continuing down the line, I can. I already have a melee of 3. I've arranged the 4, and I want to take a look at my resistance. Resistance of 2, I definitely want to jack this up a little bit. So I am going to put 2 points of resistance, and okay, I'm going to leave it there. All right, so 2 points of resistance, 1 extra at athletics, and now we can go to next. So now I can select another talent. I can go Blood on Steel. Now Blood on Steel adds an extra vicious quality. All right, for every successful roll that you make that generates momentum. So it's it does more damage. It allows you to re-roll damage as well. So that's something that I'm going to want to do. And since I'm a Sumerian, it kind of makes sense that I would have a second language that's very, very local to my character. And since I was just captured by, most likely Vanir, I'm going to take Nordheimer as a language, as a second language. So now I have a choice. I can permanently reduce my fortune points by 1, and I can add an attribute point to raise an attribute up, and I'm going to bring this awareness value up to a 9. And so that's complete there. Your belongings, you can select your belongings and it'll give you a long list of, different items that you can start off with as belongings. Your garments, same thing, a long list of garments. And then your weapon. So I can go to my throwing axe, and well, that's interesting. I can't make my throwing axe have any kind of real provenance. So my broadsword was. All right, that was my former masters. And rough habit jewelry. I'll go with tribal tattoos, deerskin leggings, and hooded cloak. Now for finishing, I put in the character name. All right, so while I was thinking about this character, I came across the name Arinda in the Thrawn novel, the Star Wars novel, and so I kind of liked it. Plus, I like the root name of Erin, which is a Celtic name, and so being a Sumerian, that was a good connection. And then the last name of Ilva, which in an ancient Nordic, language means she-wolf. So I kind of like that combination. Lever is 18. I'm not going to bother with the character descriptions and everything because you're going to actually see her. So now I'm going to export this to a print-friendly PDF. All right, so here we have her, and basically you could start seeing the stats. So she has a +1 to range, a +2 to melee. That's the number of damage dice that get added in. Her throwing axe, she'll do 3 damage dice, plus the 1 if she's throwing it, or +2 if she keeps it in her hand. It has throwing and vicious. She has a boot blade, which does 2 damage, and that has hidden and piercing. I don't see her broadsword on here, but you can see her agility. So her melee is a 14. So on 2D20 roll, you're hoping to get at least below a 14 in order to have a successful hit. And if she rolls below a 3, then it would actually gain a momentum point for going below the 3. And as far as her ranged weapons, so she has a 15 in range, and you can see a 4 and a 4. So she has a better chance of hitting, slightly better chance of hitting with the ranged weapon. So, if she's carrying more than one throwing axe, she can throw one and then switch over to her broadsword, if she chose to. And so, this is basically the system of creating a character on the online using the character generator that's provided by Morpheus. And now I'm going to switch to the Conan RPG. And so here we are with Conan RPG. And Conan Exiles, I mean. And I am going to continue and jump into character that I've already created. Now, on the single player mode, you have control. You can control the various game settings and everything. You can basically cheat your way through the game. You obviously don't have that same control when you're playing online with, you know, in a on a server that's populated by other players. This will take a few minutes to come up. I cannot stand pop-ups, especially ones I can't get rid of. Holy shit. And so here's my civilian character, and named her the same as in the other character generation. Seems to rain a lot here, and you can see around now. What I'll do is this little house I started building for her. I haven't started putting anything into it yet. No one else on this server, so everything here is, fairly quiet. I can make it as, messy as I like. But built all of this structure and just working it out, just a basic floor plan. I haven't put any of the workbenches or anything like that in it. And she does have some NPC neighbors that are aggressive. They're over there, and let's see. In the admin panel, you can do various things, like you can turn your heating off, and you can increase your water, so you don't have to worry about hunger or thirst. And what I'm going to do here is level her up. sure what my character is right now. But I will increase. I'm not going to bother with that right now. She should be fairly tough. I want to... Like I said, these guys have look at arrows. Track of where I killed them. I should have actually looted that chest instead of breaking it, but that's fine. So I chose this place on this map so that this is sort of where Samaria would kind of be. This area down over here. This would be Asgard. This would be Anaheim. So I wanted to be in a location that was as similar to Samaria as I could find. There used to be somewhat of a glitch in the game mechanic that if you stood in the water with a spear, the melee opponents wouldn't actually be able to hit you, and you could just slowly take them out. So you kind of peel them off. As you can see, they're not very tough. Certainly no match for the way I've jacked up this character. And actually nothing really special on them yet. Well, sometimes they could drop some pretty rare loot items. Usually they have one archer. We have a chest here, and sometimes you get something pretty rare. I'll check these guys' bodies out now. It's starting to get nighttime. I'll head back over to light source yet, so what I can do is I can go into the panel and here, let's see if I can find it this way. I have to finish furnishing up the house and set up some lighting internally. Um, as you can see, the glow stick lasts for quite some time, about 6 minutes at real game time. But anyway, and so there is my character for my Conan gaming. So that'll be for the Conan, the Age, the Adventures in the Age Undreamed of. I always stumble over that name. It's too long. Conan RPG 2D20 and Conan Exiles. I am going to quit the game. And switch over. So I, hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'm going to be churning out quite a few videos over the next, over this weekend. Hopefully we'll get some gameplay, tabletop gameplay in this weekend. But, just wanted you to see what some of my plans are for Conan gaming. You all have a good weekend. Once again, enjoy your game playing this weekend, and I will see you next time.